Hello viewers and my dear students. Today I am Pooja from RGCSK here to start my new live session on the topic nervous system. In this session we will discuss about the various structure, function and about of the nervous system. So we can begin our session here. The nervous system, for the introduction, the human nervous system is a control system which regulates the body's response to internal and external stimuli. As we all know, in the human body there are so many cells and the different types of organs are present, and their functions and their structure are totally different from all other. So they have to work within their with control and like coordinating with each other, so the external and internal stimuli which is coordinated by our special system present in our human body or any living being, that is called the nervous system. Next please. The nervous system is very important in helping to maintain the homeostasis or balance of the human body. It integrates and coordinates various activities of all the body organ system. Like I already discussed it with you. So like I can give you example, like if you touch any hot substance, आपने किसी गर्म चीज़ को अपने हाथ से टच किया तो एक स्टिमुलाई, एक बैक क्या कहते हैं आता है कि आप अपना हाथ वहाँ से हटा लेते हो, तो आपकी हाथ की हैंड की मसल्स को जो आदेश या जो क्या कहते हैं मिलता है वो आपके ब्रेन्स की या नर्वस सिस्टम के थ्रू मिलता है, जिसको आप वहाँ से रिमूव कर लेते हो. So the balancing, like in any situation, any condition or any internal process, for balancing and coordinating with all the organ system, it is processed by the nervous system. Next slide. So we can divide, like we all know, all the body activities, whether it is voluntary or involuntary, are controlled by the nervous system. So we can divide our nervous system in two major parts. One is central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and spinal cord, and other is the peripheral nervous system, which is made up of all the nerves that connects our central nervous system to all the muscles and organs present in the human body. Next. Central, like we already know, the central nervous system is composed of two major interconnected organs, brain and spinal cord. Here in the figure you can see, here is the brain and the long tube-like structure going in the back of the that is a spinal cord. These two constitute the major portion of our central nervous system. Next. These organs work together to integrate and coordinate sensory and motor information for the purpose of controlling the various tissues, organs and organ system of the body. So these both brain and spinal cord, they are the main central or main reason for controlling all the various activities and parts to integrate and coordinate the sensory, whether it is a sensation from any organ cells or external stimuli, and or the motor like muscle function and the skeletal muscle coordination of other system. The central nervous system is responsible for higher neural functions such as like memory, for memorizing anything, learning. We have from by birth till death we are day by day learning new things, that is also coordinated or deal by the nervous system, and emotional responses. Next, peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is a collection of peripheral nerves, ganglia and specialized sensory structures that as a system carries sensory and motor information between the central nervous system and all the other organs and tissues of the body. So we can say that peripheral nervous system is a bridge between our central nervous system and the tissues and organs of the body. They like receive the signal from the organs and tissues and send them back to the central nervous system, that is our brain and spinal cord, and from the brain and spinal cord the signal is sent to the organs and tissues of the body system. That is the main function of the peripheral nervous system. Next. So peripheral nervous system is functionally divided into two major divisions. One is somatic nervous system and other one is autonomic or visceral nervous system. Next we can see, we will see this further next slides. Okay, now we are going to see what are the tissue or cells which will make up our nervous system. The nervous system is made up predominantly of tissue that has the special property of being able to conduct impulses rapidly from one part of the body to another. नर्वस सिस्टम उन स्पेशल या एक स्पेशल काइंड ऑफ सेल से मिलके बने होते हैं जिनको एक जगह एक बॉडी पार्ट से लेके दूसरी बॉडी पार्ट तक नर्व्स को सिग्नल्स को पहुंचाना होता है. दैट स्पेशलाइज्ड सेल जिनको हम क्या बोलते हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो कॉल्ड न्यूरॉन्स दैट कंस्टिट्यूट्स ऑफ द फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ द नर्वस सिस्टम. एंड न्यूरॉन्स को हम नर्वस सिस्टम की फंक्शनल यूनिट भी कहते हैं. नेक्स्ट, so nervous system, nerve tissue is composed of neurons and neuroglia. Neuroglia are the supporting cells which support the neurons in the nervous system, richly supplied with the blood. Next, so now we are going to briefly discuss about the neurons, their function and structure. Neuron is defined as the structural and function unit of the nervous system. As you already know, it is also known as nerve cell. So in nerve cell it is similar with other cells in so many aspects, like it has all the cell organelles, cytoplasm like mitochondria and cytoplasm, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, all the other substance in the nerve cell. But it differs from other cell in so many ways, like there are two major ways. Neurons has branches or processes called the axons and dendrites. Every neurons or nerve cell has a axons and dendrites, and neurons does not have centrosome, so it cannot undergo division. Nerve cells never divide at birth. That number of exact numbers of cells will be present in your body till death. There is no increment in the nerve cells in any living being. Next, so structure of neuron, we can divide in major these parts. First one is the cell body. The main processing center of the cell is called the cell body. This has nucleus and all the cytoplasm cell organelles present. Dendrites, thin branching extensions of the cell body that conduct nerve impulses towards the cell body. That portion is called dendrites. And next one is axon, a single longitudinal branch which conducts nerve impulses away from the cell body, that is called axon. And there is a covering over the axon, that is called myelin sheath or neurolemma, which protects the nerve conduction. Next, so this is the typical structure of a neuron. In this we can say this is the like cell body, which already I have told you. This is the structure called cell body. This is a nucleus, and cell body also known called as soma. There is a like processes appearing from the cell body. These are called dendrites. There is a nucleus, and this portion from this area from the next to there is called axon, and these are the axon terminals. So the axons have Schwann cells. Schwann cells are like the covering over the axons, which are protecting from leaking of the transmission to leak out from the, and there is a gap between two Schwann cells which are protecting that impulse or electronic impulse which is transmitting through the axon. That gaps are called the nodes of Ranvier. And Schwann cell secretes a white fatty like substance. That substance is called myelin. Next, function of the neurons. The major function of every neuron cell is the impulse transmission. Terminal end fibers are located and the ends of the axons, like there you can see there is a there are numerous millions of neurons present in the human body, and they are interconnected with each other, but there is a minute gap present in two nerve cells, and that gap is called the synapse. So this synapse inside a axon, like the dendrites, they transmit the signal towards the cell body from the various body parts, and this signal collect here in the cell body, and then this transmit as in an electrical form through the axonal end, and then reach to the synapse or terminal end of a axon. And here a chemical transmission occur, and this is that chemical is like collected by any muscle fiber where it is the signal for the muscle or any organ system or body, and the like this the impulse of transmission happens in every time. Next slide. The classification of neurons, like we can classify the neurons depending on the number of processes. There are three types: unipolar, bipolar and multipolar. Unipolar neurons are those where there is a single process arising from the cell body is present, that is called unipolar neurons, and bipolar neurons are where there are two cell processes are present arising from the cell body, that is called bipolar, and multipolar where there are multiple cell body or dendrites are emerging from, that is called the multipolar, and there is only one axon. Next we can divide it upon their function. We can also divide it, there are three types: efferent or motor, that conveys information from the central nervous system to the muscles and glands, that is the function of efferent or motor neurons. Then there is another afferent or sensory, that carry information from the sensory receptors to the CNS. There are various sensory receptors present on our body, that is also external or internal. Then there are another interneurons that carry and process sensory information in between the efferent and efferent motor neurons. Next, then we discussed the neuroglia. Let we know in detail about the neuroglia. What is neuroglia? Glia means the glue, means to attach और binding किसी दो चीज़ों को आपस में connect करने के लिए, ठीक है. तो neuroglia or the glia is the supporting cell of the nervous system which supports them. The neuroglial cells are non-excitable and do not transmit nerve impulses or action potential, means the action potential or nerve impulse is transmitted only by the neurons. It's not transmitted by the neuroglial cell. They are only for supporting the nervous system. Next. So these cells are also called non-neural cells or glial cells. Just because they are not transmitting the impulses, they are called non-neural or glial cells. Unlike nerve cells which cannot divide, glial cells continue to divide throughout the life, but the nerve cells, they cannot divide, but glial cell can divide and multiply in number. Next, their function is to support, protect, connect and remove the debris from the nervous system. तो न्यूरोग्लियल सेल का मेन फंक्शन है सपोर्ट करना नर्व सेल्स को और नर्वस सिस्टम को, उनको प्रोटेक्ट करना, एक दूसरे के बीच में कनेक्शन मेंटेन करना और जो वहाँ पे एक्स्ट्रा डेब्रीज है उनको वहाँ से रिमूव करना. नेक्स्ट, सो वी कैन classify the neuroglial cells into various types. So these four are from the central nervous system present and these two present in the peripheral nervous system. So there is ependymal cell, there is a structure of the oligodendrocytes, these is the star shaped astrocytes, is a microglia, and for peripheral nervous system satellite cell and Schwann cell. We will discuss about each in detail. Next, so first we discuss about astrocytes. These are from the central nervous system neuroglial cell. They are star shaped cells, as you already seen in the diagram, present in all parts of the brain. They twist around the, like there is a nerve cell present in the brain, they twist around the nerve cells and form the blood brain barrier. The blood brain barrier is the semi-permeable membrane which protects the brain tissue from getting any unwanted chemical or signal entering into the brain cells. That is called blood brain barrier. So blood brain barrier is formation is the function of astrocytes neuroglial cell. Next one is microglia. This is the smallest neuroglial cell present in the central nervous system. These are phagocytic, derived from monocytes. Monocytes are the type of cell of the WBC, engulf and destroy the microorganisms and cellular debris by means of phagocytosis. Like there is unwanted substance or any infection or debris present, they engulf and destroy the unwanted cellular debris. That is the function of microglial cell. Next is the oligodendrocytes. They produce myelin sheet around the nerve fiber in the central nervous system. The function of oligodendrocytes is to produce myelin sheet so that the transmission or nerve impulse which is transmitting from a nerve don't get lost or destroy in between. So these cells are present where Schwann cells are absent. In the gaps where Schwann cells are not present in the nerve fiber, their oligodendrocytes protect from the leaking of the transmission. Next, ependymal cells. They are ciliated columnar cells which line the ventricles of brain and central canal of the spinal cord. they are columnar, and they are secreting the brain. Cerebrospinal fluid is present inside our brain and spinal cord. We already know that fluid is they exchange the material between the brain and the cerebrospinal fluid at the brain cerebrospinal fluid barrier. Like we already studied the blood brain barrier, that is the same thing, brain cerebrospinal fluid barrier, which selectively helping or getting the exchange of material between the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And they are a ciliated columnar cells which line the ventricles of brain and central canal of spinal cord. Next, Schwann cells, they are major glial cells in the peripheral nervous system. Now we are started from the peripheral nervous system. They provide myelination or insulation around the nerve fibers but where in the peripheral nerve cells. Next, last glial cell is the satellite cell. These are present on the exterior surface of peripheral nervous system neurons, and they provide physical support to the peripheral nervous neurons. Next, so we are discussing about the synapse. So synapse is the junction between the two neurons. There is a two neurons, and between them there is a gap present. That gap is known as synapse. It's not the anatomical, there is no anatomical conjugation, but it's only a physiological continuity between two nerve cells. Because two nerve cell physiological continuity, why? Because they are helping in the transmission of the signals from the one nerve cell to the another nerve cell. Next, the function of synapse is to transmit the impulses from one neuron to another, that you already discussed. Next, there is a diagram. There is a last terminal synaptic knob of the one neuron, and this is the dendrite of the another neuron. So here the chemicals are releasing and they are received by the dendrite of another neuron, and this junction is known as synapse. And there are some binding sites where here the binding sites are present, where all the receptors or enzyme or chemical neurotransmitter, they are binding here and transmitting or releasing the signal to that particular neuron. Next, so now we are starting with the central nervous system. As we already know, central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. So first we start with the brain. The brain is that part of the central nervous system which lies within the cavity of the skull. There is a skull present. Within that our brain is constituted. It consists of the following part. We can divide the brain in majorly three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. And there are subdivision of that. Forebrain is subdivided into cerebrum and diencephalon. Midbrain is only midbrain, and hindbrain has three parts, that is pons, medulla oblongata and cerebellum. Next, this is the diagram of human brain. There is a cranium or skull. Beneath that our human brain is present. There is this proportion, this highly coiled segment is called cerebrum, and there is a mid diencephalon area, and this region is called midbrain, and there is a pons, medulla oblongata and spinal cord is there, and it is the cerebellum, and hypothalamus and pituitary gland is present here, and it's under the cranium. And beneath the cranium there are so many meninges or layer present there to protect the human brain. Next, so the meninges, there are three layers of membranes that cover the brain and spinal cord, that is our central nervous system. So the layers are in the sequence: dura mater, that is the outermost layer, that is tough fibrous membrane, and the middle one is the arachnoid mater, middle web-like membrane containing the cerebrospinal fluid, and the nearest one is the pia mater. Beneath this innermost layer containing several blood vessels is highly rich in the blood supply, and beneath the pia mater our brain tissues or cells are present and protected. There is a three continuation: outermost is dura, innermost is arachnoid, and the middle one is arachnoid, and the innermost is the pia mater. Next, so there is a diagram, you can see this is our brain tissue here present. and over there the nearest one is the or innermost layer is the pia matter, and after middle one is there is a arachnoid matter layer is present, and there is the dura mater, and between the arachnoid and pia matter there is a CSF fluid is present, and this is our bone or skull present. That is the cross sectional view of a human brain. Next, now we will move toward the cerebrum. So this is the major highly coiled portion. This is the largest part of our brain and located above the, this is the cerebellum. Above the cerebellum it is located, and it divided into two hemisphere with an outer portion called the cerebral cortex. The outer portion is called the cerebral cortex, which is mostly a gray matter, and the gray matter is present of the axon cell bodies of the neurons. Next, so two hemispheres are connected by a bridge of nerve fibers or bundle of nerve fibers that relay information between the two hemispheres. That portion or that nerve fiber bridge is called corpus callosum. Next, so the left lobe and right lobe, each lobe are divided into four parts, and that parts are parietal lobe, frontal lobe, temporal lobe and occipital lobe. These lobes have their unique special function in the brain. Next, the function of cerebrum receives all the sensory, the major function of cerebrum is to do the sensory function in the body, to receive all sensory stimuli and conveys most of them to the consciousness, initiates all voluntary movements, like all voluntary movements is richly controlled or majorly controlled by the cerebrum, correlates and retain all impulses. This ability forms the basis of the memory, like our memory is started from the birth, control other parts of the and control or manages the other parts of the nervous system. Next, so this is the, like we can locate the various lobes or areas present in the cerebrum and their function, like sensory cortex, the cortex region, there is a pain, heat and other sensation is controlled by the sensory cortex. Then there is a parietal lobe which controls the comprehension of language. There is a temporal lobe which controls or regulates our hearing. Occipital lobe is primarily the visual area, and there is a frontal lobe which controls the smell. Broca's area which controls the speech. Frontal lobe controls our judgment, foresight and voluntary movement. Here you can see all the parts and various parts they are controlling, or they have their special unique features. Temporal lobe is doing the intellectual and emotional functions. Next move on to the next part, diencephalon. We have seen that forebrain has two parts, the cerebrum we already discussed. Now move on to the diencephalon. So diencephalon is a midline structure which is largely embedded in the cerebrum and therefore hidden from the surface view. It is embedded largely between the two hemispheres of the cerebrum, and the major parts of the diencephalon is, next slide, deep portion of the brain containing thalamus and hypothalamus. Here you can see in the diagram thalamus and hypothalamus. In thalamus you can divide in right thalamus and left thalamus. Next, so the thalamus, it's taken from the Greek, means inner chamber or meeting place. So it directs sensory impulses to the cerebrum. It is like a relay station. It gathering all the sensory and motor information from the various organs and parts of the body, and here is a thalamus located, and it transmitting that sensations and transmit signals according to the uses. There in the cerebrum we know there are so many lobes are present and their functions are different. So according to their specialization, specialized area, it is sending by segregating those signals to the cerebrum. If the thalamus, if there is any damage or accident, trauma caused in the thalamus, it can lead to the coma. Why coma? Because the sensation, it's not relaying or transmitting from the thalamus, not reaching to their exact location for the stimuli or response. So the person cannot move or give any sensation or feedback in exchange of that impulse or stimuli, so that person behave like a coma. Next, hypothalamus. So hypothalamus controls our various parts or impulses like temperature. It regulates temperature increase or decrease, appetite like hunger, water balancing. Next, our sleeping pattern, wake cycle, and blood vessel dilation and constriction, and also plays role in the emotions. There are various emotions that humans plays like anger, fear, pleasure, pain, or affection, or various other emotion that also controlled by our hypothalamus. It is present here beneath the thalamus. Next, now brainstem. The brainstem connects the forebrain and spinal cord. That area is called brainstem, and the parts, there are three parts of brainstem, that is midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. You can see in the diagram. Here is the thalamus present in the midbrain. This portion is called pons, and this is medulla oblongata. This is the orange color, and after that our spinal cord starts. So this three portion constitutes our brainstem. Next, midbrain. So midbrain is also known as mesencephalon, is the shortest segment of the brainstem. Its function is only to connect the pons and cerebellum with the forebrain. There is no major function of the midbrain present in our body. Next, pons is constituting also as a bridge, also called a bridge. Pons lies between the midbrain and the medulla oblongata. Here in blue color you can see this portion in our brain is called as pons. On each side it is connected to the cerebellum. This portion is called the cerebellum, this brown color, by the middle cerebral peduncle. Here there is a connection behind that, and it's connected to the cerebellum. Next, pons is made up of grey and white matter. As you know, white matter is made up of all the axons, like collection. White matter is the collection of axons, and grey matter is the collection of all the cell bodies of the neurons, responsible for involuntary reflex action like sleep, our sleep, when we have to sleep or not, wakefulness, breathing rate, like they have to increase the breathing rate or decrease, that is totally controlled by the pons. Next, medulla oblongata. It is a part of the brainstem, and it is about 3 cm here, you can see. Next, it is continuous above with the pons and below with the spinal cord, and also known as the center for respiration. So major breathing pattern and respiration is controlled by the medulla oblongata. Next, and it also regulates various other functions of our body like heart and blood vessel function, the digestion, respiration rate, swallowing, खाने को चबाने के बाद उसको निगलना. Next, coughing reflexes, our sneezing pattern, and blood pressure, whether you have to raise up the blood pressure or decrease the blood pressure, that these all function also in addition is regulated by the medulla oblongata. Next, cerebellum, this blue portion below here, that is called as cerebellum, area that coordinates musculoskeletal movement to maintain posture, balance, and muscle tone. So our muscle tone, our posture and balance is richly coordinated or regulated by the cerebellum part of our brain, inferior to the occipital. This is the occipital lobe of the cerebrum. Below this the cerebellum is situated, and posterior to pons and medulla oblongata of the brainstem region. Next, moving on to the, now we completed all the various parts and their function of the brain. Now moving on to the spinal cord, that is a long hollow like a tube present in our thorax, extends from the medulla oblongata here to the of the brain to the area around the first lumbar vertebrae in the lower back. Nerves from the peripheral nervous system extends out from the spinal cord. All the nerves which are constituting our peripheral nervous system are arising from the spinal cord. The spinal cord are divided into various regions. First, uppermost region is called the cervical region. C1 to C7 vertebrae are in the region called cervical. There is a thoracic region, and again after thoracic there is a lumbar, and last one is the sacral and coccyx. Next. So spinal cord is also protected by the 3 layers, just like our brain, and the like vertebral column, the bony portion, that vertebrae is made the vertebral column hollow through which our spinal cord goes. This red portion is our spinal cord, and these bones are called the vertebral column. And there is also meninges, the 3 layer of meninges present in the spinal cord protecting, and inside the hollow cavity of the spinal cord there is a fluid moving, that is called the cerebrospinal fluid, and these three protects our spinal cord just like the brain. Next. So now we concluded or completed our central nervous system. Moving on to the peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system, it connects the central nervous system to the organ, limbs and skin. As we all know, this is our brain and this is the spinal cord, and all the nerves instead of these 2 parts all constituting the peripheral nervous system. It carries sensory as well as motor information to and from the central nervous system. To means from the central nervous system to the periphery, and from the periphery to the central nervous system. Allow the brain and spinal cord to receive and send information to other areas of the body, and also regulates our involuntary body functions like heartbeat and breathing. As you all know, involuntary body function means the functions which are not in our control. Next. So peripheral nervous system can be divided into 2 parts, somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So first we are going to see the somatic nervous system. It is responsible for carrying motor and sensory information, responsible for receiving and processing sensory inputs from the skin, our muscles, tendons, joints, eyes, tongue, nose and ears, as well as excite the voluntary contraction of the skeletal muscles. So they are richly associated with our skeletal muscle contraction and for our voluntary or sensory motor functions. Next. They process sensory information from external stimuli, our senses like hearing, touch and sight. Through there are 2 like nerves there is also present, 2 types as we already studied. Afferent sensory neuron that conducting inwards means from the outer stimuli to the central nervous system, and efferent sensory neurons means conducting outward means from the central nervous system to the various organs and muscles of the body. Next. Here you can see in the diagram the function of the afferent nerve and efferent nerve. Afferent nerve is taking the signal from our skin and transmitting to the central nervous system to analyze, and further analyzing it, sending the signal to that muscle or cell again through the efferent nerve to react accordingly. Next. Next are autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is carries impulses from the central nervous system to our glands, various smooth muscles, cardiac muscles and various membranes. That means like our glands, cardiac muscles and various muscles, they are not in our control. So it is where in mainly or majorly is controlling or regulating our involuntary functions, stimulates organs, glands and senses according to the stimulus received from the central nervous system or that particular organ system. Next. So the autonomic nervous system is further subdivided into 2 parts. First one is the sympathetic system and next one is the parasympathetic system. So sympathetic system stimulates activities that are performed during emergency or any stressful situation or any danger situation like fight, fright and flight situation. It increases all the various function of our body, like in any danger situation or any special stress situation our body needs more attention, so it dilates our pupil, it stops our digestive systems and secretion of saliva and increase more muscle coordination in our body. And parasympathetic system, it's just opposite to the sympathetic system. It relaxes all and normalizes all the increased parameters of our body. It stimulates activities that conserve and restore body resources. It's normalize back all the elevated stimulus of our body various parts. Next. So here in diagram you can see there is sympathetic, like it dilates our pupils, inhibits salivation or secretion of the saliva, relaxes bronchi so that more oxygen go to our lungs, increase heartbeat so that increase our blood flow in the body, slows down digestion so that all the concentration of the blood is towards the cardiac skeleton muscles, and then stimulated glucose release so that our blood is richly supplied with the nutrients, reduce intestinal muscles, adrenal production and reduces blood flow. And parasympathetic is just opposite to the sympathetic, like here is a dilation of pupils and there is a pupil constriction occurs, stimulation of saliva, here inhibition of saliva is there, like decrease the production of salivation, where here it is normalizing the saliva production. Here the bronchi are relaxed, where here parasympathetic nervous system is constricting the bronchi or relaxed. Here is a increased heartbeat, where it is slowing the heart rate and stimulate production of bile, stimulate the digestion or starting and stimulate and causes an erection. So these both are just the opposite. The sympathetic nervous system is always working in the danger situation or in a flight fear mode, and parasympathetic nervous system is after that, like that situation happens, after some time it starts actioning and reversing back all the portion of the sympathetic nervous system. Next. So as we all know, in our central nervous system or in our peripheral, from our brain there are 12 cranial nerves are arising, and from our spinal cord there is also spinal nerves, 31 pairs spinal nerves are arising. So there are total 43 paired nerves are present in our body arising from the central nervous system. So we are going to discuss one by one or their normal functions of the 12 pairs of the cranial nerve. The first cranial nerve is called as olfactory, and the function of olfactory nerve is to the sense of smell. And second is the optic nerve, that their function is the sense of vision. Third one is the oculomotor, their function is the movement of eye. Trochlear aids muscle that moves the eye. And trigeminal, fifth one is the trigeminal nerve, there is a sensation of face. Muscles of mastication, mastication is the like chewing of the food particles. And sixth cranial nerve is the abducens, it moves the eye outwards and that movement is called abduction. So you can look to the sidewards. And seventh cranial nerve is the facial nerve, that is majorly regulating our facial expression and taste buds. Eighth cranial nerve is the vestibulocochlear, which is controlling our hearing and regulates balance. Ninth cranial nerve is glossopharyngeal, that stimulates our salivary glands and secretion of the saliva. 10th is the vagus nerve, that controls speech, swallowing, heart muscles, smooth muscle and certain glands regulation. 11th cranial nerve is the accessory, that regulates muscles of soft palate, pharynx and larynx and neck. Soft palate is present behind the hard palate in our mouth. And the last one is the hypoglossal, that is regulating the movement of our tongue muscle. So these are all our 12 cranial nerves and their functions. Next, these are the location of all the 12 cranial nerves. Here is the optic nerve present, this blue color is the trigeminal nerve, this is a facial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, vagus nerve, this is the accessory nerve, vestibulocochlear, abducens, hypoglossal, trochlear, oculomotor is here, and olfactory. So you can say here what is the arrangement of our 12 pair cranial nerves. Next. So at last we can summarize the nervous system. So nervous system is majorly divided into two parts, central and peripheral nervous system, central nervous system is majorly made up of the spinal cord and brain, and peripheral nervous system we can divide it into autonomic and somatic nervous system. Autonomic further can divide into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. These both act just opposite to each other. So I hope you all like this session. Please stay tuned with us for the more upcoming live classes. Stay tuned with us. Do like, share and subscribe our channel rjcsk.edu. Thank you.